Hello and welcome to Enchantment of Eternity's top 5 worst Star Trek child actors. In this video I will count down 5 of my least favorite actors who are of a young age who appeared in the Star Trek franchise, or who played kids on Star Trek at their young age when the episode was filmed, I should say. This was a patron requested video requested by patron Tyler Cease. It's sort of a companion piece to the top 10 best child actors in Star Trek. So he had originally requested I do a top 10 worst, but I honestly couldn't think of 10 worst. I feel like I would, if I tried to make it up to 10, I'd be putting on actors who I think their performances were actually just mediocre, or maybe not the best, but still I don't think worth calling worst. So I withered it down to 5. And also there's a lot of Star Trek episodes where I don't remember it well enough, like I never paid close enough attention to their performances to say whether or not they're terrible, so there could be some performances that I'm missing out, and people are welcome to leave in the comments section below, oh, you forgot about this person. Like, for example, the Voyager episode, in a sense, it's been way too long since I've seen that, so I can't recall if any of those children in that episode gave particularly bad performances. So I'm basically going off of recent memory where there were particular performances that stood out to me as being particularly bad, and so I'm just going to list off those 5 performances. A disclaimer I do want to give, though, is how difficult it is to be a child actor, and I don't want to seem like I'm piling on. Even though, everyone in my list is well into adulthood at this stage, but still, my criticism is more of the casting director, because they always say it's difficult to work with children and pets, and the casting directors should, particularly when casting young children, should be a bit more diligent. And I understand it would be harder to find the right sort of talent, but yeah, I think that the casting director should have tried harder. But anyway, we will start with my number 5 worst child actor in Star Trek, and that is Max Subura, who played Patterson in the episode Disaster. Now, Patterson was the youngest of the 3 children who was into radishes. He kept looking at the camera, he kept seeing like he was unsure of his lines, and it was kind of obvious that he was reciting lines, and Patrick Stewart did his best to try to salvage that performance, but of course there's only so much that he can do. And again, this was a younger kid, and they always say working with younger kids is harder, so I understand that caveat, which is probably why he only comes at number 5. And I have heard people complain about the other 2 child actors who appeared in this episode. I didn't think their performances were amazing or anything, but I didn't think they were bad enough to be considered the worst. The young actress who played the young girl who Picard called number 1, like, I actually thought her performance was decent. The other guy, Jay Gordon, you could tell he was kind of nervous and uncomfortable as well, but I didn't think his performance was particularly terrible. So just pointing out Patterson. Anyway, we'll get into my number 4, which is Caesar Belli, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, Belli, or however you pronounce it, who plays Steve in the episode And the Children Shall Lead. Now, And the Children Shall Lead is another episode in which some people might point out to a lot of performances from the child actors as being particularly bad, but none of them stood out to me, or I didn't notice anything that was particularly terrible. I actually thought most of them did a really decent job with the writing with the script they were given. It was the script that was bad, which isn't really the child actor's fault. But one of the younger ones in this group, the one who asked for ice cream, that did stand out to me immediately as being a terrible performance. I was like, ooh, this is not selling it. Like, I don't buy this at all. This is obviously someone reciting lines. And I didn't know at the time, but I come to find out that this was the son or grandson or somehow related to the person who was playing the friendly angel, who was not an actor. He was a famous lawyer. In fact, Walter Koenig was quoted as saying that he was very upset that they, hired this guy who was not an actor to be in this episode. I didn't think his performance was actually that bad compared to all the cheese that's usually in the original series, but the performance of the young kid, who was just there because of nepotism apparently, did stand out as, yes, this is a really terrible performance. So next we'll get into my number 3, which is David Burkham, who played young Picard in the episode Rascals. Now, he also played Renee in the episode Family, and I actually thought he did a decent job in that episode. But I think someone involved in the producing staff was like, oh, well, this actor did a good job in Family. Let's bring him back for this role to play younger Picard. It's a different task, and he's not up to it. Part of the problem, the main problem with this performance is that he's supposed to be playing a younger version of Picard. And I know that's a really hard ask, especially for a young actor, to mimic like Patrick Stewart's performance. But he has a different accent, different mannerisms, different ways of speaking. Like, he just does not come off as young Picard at all. Are you here to relieve me of duty? And he has the way he plays this particular role. He has sort of a high-pitched, annoying, volume to it, and he doesn't sell at all that this is Picard. And the performance just came off as particularly annoying and just didn't sell anything about the premise. So, next we'll get into my number 2, which is Shay Astor, who played Isabella in the episode Imaginary Friend. Now, I did mention the actress who played Claire in Imaginary Friend. In fact, she was my number 1 best child actor in Star Trek because I thought her performance was amazing. But opposite this character who played the imaginary friend, and again, this was a big ask of a child actor to play an alien who's taking child form and someone who's supposed to come off as kind of creepy or not really understanding human behavior. And she didn't do that at all. She came off as just completely flat. I didn't find her performance conducive to making it scary. And she just seemed to have like dead eyes and a monotone voice, which is not the best way to do it. So so this performance really undercut the episode and everything that it was trying to accomplish by having this alien pretend to be an imaginary friend of a little girl, and it just came off as flat. And I do think it's contributed to why that episode didn't hurt, and especially opposite such a great performance by Claire. But, so now we will get into my number 1 worst child performance in Star Trek, and that is Megan Perlin, who played young Ensign Rowe in the episode Rascals. So I mentioned Rascals again, which was in my top 10 worst episodes of TNG, and part of it was the performances. I think that the actress who played young Keiko didn't do a particularly good job either, but not terrible enough to make this list. But young Rowe, I think this is one of the worst performances I've seen in the Star Trek franchise. Because just the way that she speaks, like every time she talks, it's very obvious to me that she's reciting lines and that she's like acting. Like, this is a performance that stands out as obviously inauthentic, and I'm not pouting, and nothing about it seems authentic. And I feel like the casting directors in this case were probably more concerned with finding a young actress who looked like Michelle Forbes rather than someone who could perform this performance as young Rose. Like, she didn't come off as like Rose sort of angsty, or had a lot of anger, and that's not how she came off at all. She just came off as someone pretending to be angsty, or like a pouty little child. And and I found that this performance very distracting, and it's part of why that episode, along with of course the young Picard's performance, part of why the episode is so terrible, and I don't buy it. And and again, it's a hard ask to ask a younger actor to play a younger version of an established character, but still, there definitely were actors out there who could have done a much better job. So again, casting director did not do their job in this particular case. So anyway, that is my number 1 worst child actor in Star Trek. So that is it for my top 5 worst child actors in Star Trek. And of course, this is just my humble opinion. If you have a different opinion, please go ahead, leave it in the comment section. Let me know who I forgot, who should have been on this list. I know that some people mention the actor who played young Alexander in his first appearance in Reunion. He wasn't the best. He kept kind of looking at the camera and being distant, but I don't know, when the actor's that young, I kind of give him cut him a bit of slack. And I didn't think he was that terrible, but I don't know. That's just me. If you disagree, let me know, and let me know who else I should have put on this list. So anyway, that's it for my top 5 worst child actors in Star Trek. If you enjoyed this video, please comment, leave a like, subscribe. If you want to support me on Patreon, there's a link in the description below with a lot of rewards for that, such as a Patreon-only series that I do where I revisit reviews that I've already done, and that sort of thing you can check out if you're so inclined. And at the moment, I am covering every episode of Star Trek in order. At the moment, I'm up to Season 2 of Voyager and Season 4 of Deep Space Nine. So you can check out my channel for that and many other videos on Star Trek and other shows. So be sure to subscribe so you can keep up with all of that. And thanks a lot for watching.